Hi, my name is Brandon, and today I'm reviewing The Disappointments Room. And boy, was I disappointed in this movie. And that right there is why you never call a movie The Disappointments Room. Right off the bat, this is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And I really don't know how it got made, and how it was released, and how it ended up at my theater, and how I somehow went to see it today. So I went to see The Disappointments Room today because there's really nothing else out that I wanted to see. And I always think that even a bad horror movie, the best place to see it is at a theater. But I really wish I hadn't wasted my time and money, because this is a bad movie. You know, I never even heard of this movie, and I stay pretty up to date with movies that are coming out, especially horror movies, and I never once seen a trailer. But then when I was looking at what's coming out on Rotten Tomatoes, I saw this movie. So I looked at the trailer and it looked interesting. So, and there are no reviews on it, so that's another bad sign. But I went in and it was really a piece of shit. Right at the beginning, and I will say I'm not really gonna worry too much about spoilers, but I really think that you should not see this movie. Like, there's no point in seeing it. You have a better experience watching my crappy video than you would seeing this shitty film. So when I went in the cold opening, they were driving in this car, and this weird little kid with this old bowl haircut is singing this song. They sing into the radio or whatever, some musical. And the goofy dad that's singing with him. Right off the bat, Kate Beckinsale is looking like, oh, I hate these two people. Like, it's such a weird way to open the movie. You know, then when you get to the house, you know, it's full of cliches. You know, it's a whole old haunted house that they moved here after some stuff went down. And they want to get away into the wilderness, and they found this old house, this huge house that's in disrepair, and they're living there. But I mean, the whole setup of it is that she is some sort of architect. But they do this weird, like, sexist stuff where they go in to this grocery store in this little town, and she's saying, oh, they're gonna fix up the place by herself, and the woman's like, oh, your husband must be real handy with a hammer. And it's like, no, I'm the architect. But this Kate Beckinsale, she does not look like a handy woman. You know, she has that plastic Hollywood starring female look. You know, it looks like she never worked a day in her life. And they expect her to think that she's a handy woman, and that she's gonna go up on the roof and fix it. And it's not believable at all. And then they go back to their house, and you know, in the middle of the night, she decides to go out for a smoke in the woods around their house. And I mean, earlier she saw something running by her, or something rustling in the bushes. But she thinks it's a good idea to go out around the same spot in the middle of the night and have a cigarette, instead of going out on their balcony, which is right outside the room, to smoke. And they never have the husband say, oh, you shouldn't be smoking or something. Like, she's just smoking a cigarette. There's no setup for it. But then she notices a light go on in the attic. So in the middle of the night, she goes up the creepy winding staircase all the way to the top, and she finds this beautiful armoire. And she thinks, there must be a room behind that. So she tries to move it, and it's this gigantic thing, and she can't even budge it. So then she opens the armoire, and bats fly out. Bats! In the middle of the night, which are roosting for some reason, instead of hunting. So she takes all the shelves out, and still too heavy. Oh, there's her husband with a jump scare behind you. And the jump scares aren't even good. They aren't even scary. They aren't startling. They're bad. So they find, oh, there's a door behind this now. And they're like, it's not on the blueprint, see? I'm an architect. It came back to that. So they they can't open the door. So they're like, oh well, and they go on the next day, and she finds a box of keys, and she goes back up the winding staircase and tries them, none of them work, but she reaches up and finds the key on the awning or alcove right above the door, and that key opens the door. She goes in, and a ghostly presence locks her in. So now she's locked into this room, and she can't get out. But she's screaming, no one can hear her, and she passes out and wakes up, and it looks like it's night. She comes down, and their kid and their husband are like, oh, what's wrong? I'm like, I was locked up there for hours. And then, of course, when she goes downstairs and notices that it's still sunny outside, and the egg timer goes off for the lasagna, which they never eat. They never show them doing anything with it. But she's like, oh no, you're losing time. Then he's like, you're something wrong with you. Are you taking your pills? And I mean, the acting is so incredibly bad. Like, Kate Beckinsale is so wooden and emotionless. But she's not the worst, but the husband, he has to be one of the worst actors I've ever seen. Every comment ends in a question. Are you okay? How are you doing? Are you taking your meds? And this doesn't make any sense, why they're together. I don't think they ever even kiss. They make this one weird little comment and was like, oh, you promise we're going to do that? You're going to screw me later or something? He does some real comment. But there's no other relationship between them. And, it's weird. And the kid is just bad. Every line the kid said is bad. So stuff goes on. She keeps experiencing weird stuff. But so much of it, there's not enough of the horror. There's not enough of the creepy. There's just this weird drama of just images of her walking around the house and looking at stuff and being depressed and not taking her meds for some reason. It's just, then you find out that, oh, she has postpartum depression and they lost her baby for some reason. So, and the whole idea of them going out to the country is it seems relatively within the year of losing a baby being born, they never really explain why they're really moving out. At first, the husband says that, he's a house husband. He doesn't do anything. It's the wife that has a job. But then he has to go back into the city right after she showed that she is really not doing well. And, so he has a company too, but they never talk about it. So then, Kate Beckinsale goes back into town and goes to the records hall where her husband is gone. And she finds out, oh, there's all this, the exposition. This weird old lady is like, oh, you must have a disappointments room. That's where, in the old days, they locked away deformed kids because they didn't want to show them around. Like, oh, you're right. Yes, you are. And it's so, no one knows about this house. They're like, oh, the house was empty for so long. And, later you'll get a thing where this old woman is looking through all the newspaper and like, oh, they killed the people and the family was killed by these ghosts in there or something. And, no one knows about this. Usually, they'd have, the locals be, whispering behind their back, oh, they're screwed. But no one knows that this place is haunted. And so it's just weird. And the weird thing, it's dragging and dragging and dragging. And then there's coming up where there's the guy is seeing a therapist. First of all, I don't know, why is he seeing the therapist? I mean, I know he's suffering too, but I think, Kate Beckinsale should be seeing a therapist. So, the therapist has this great opinion that, hey, on your little dead daughter's birthday, why don't you invite people over to your new haunted house? And so he's like, yeah, that's a good idea, I'll do that. He brings them over, and they come over, and Kate Beckinsale is acting so weird this entire time. I forgot at one part, there's, to fix the roof, there's this, weird hot guy comes in, unannounced. Hey, I'm gonna fix your house, wanna bang? And there's this weird, interplay between them smoking on the rotten balcony. Oh, wanna screw? No. Wanna screw again? No. Wanna screw? Maybe. But no. And it's really bad. It is horrible writing and horrible acting. But so eventually she asks him, "Oh, I found this gravestone. Why don't you dig it up? I think it's a pet, but it might be a little child. So why don't you check?" But then while her two friends are over, like one with the chick from Bones, but they're having this like really nice dinner, and right before she goes and digs through her dresser and finds a bottle of whiskey and starts chugging it. And then she goes out and drives drunk through the little town trying to find a birthday cake. And meanwhile, they're eating dinner, waiting for her to come back. And it's like, oh, like, was she okay? And there's this really weird neon donut sign behind him in the dining room that had never been shown. It is so out of place in this like beautiful mansion. Kate Beckinsale comes into the room, drunk off her ass, and is like yelling and doing all this stuff. So like, oh, it's a birthday party for my dead baby. And she slammed the cake down. Like, eat the cake, it's a birthday party. And it's like, are you drunk? I think you're drunk. Like, no shit, I'm drunk. And they don't even yell at her. They say, dude, I think you need to take a chill pill and go lay down and go like drink some water and call it a night. Instead, she slams the cake down and starts trashing all the plates and throwing all this shit around. And they're just watching her like, oh, are you okay? Like, that's not how people react. There would be some sort of reaction. You would talk to her, talk about it, do something. But it's nothing. And then, they turn away to see, oh, the hot repair guy is getting his head chopped off by the ghost with a shovel. And that's the weirdest thing. The ghosts are not, there's nothing interesting about them. Like, they didn't do any makeup or, like, any effects. They're just actors. They're just, like, they're just actors. They just look like they're alive. And they never really explain it. And so, I mean, going in, I think, okay, so is this place haunted? Or is it a descent into madness? So then, she goes back up into the room, the disappointments room, and she sees, a replay of what happened to the original owners of the house. How they had a deformed daughter, and the dad with this cool dog, which is kind of weird that it's always like so evil, but he like crushes the little girl's head in with a hammer, and like he's like, oh, now it's your son's turn. So she went and goes and grabs the hammer and runs downstairs to stop the guy and starts banging the bed. And the husband breaks in the house and, pulls her off. And, she was trying to kill her kid. And then that's at the end. It ends like that. Like, oh, don't kill the kid. Please don't kill your kid. And like, I want to kill my kid. Also kill my baby. Then you see a flashback where, because she was so frustrated with the baby won't stop crying, that she smothered it, by falling asleep on it. But she smothered it and killed it. And, now she's trying to kill her other kid with a hammer. And it's like, oh, don't worry, he just thinks it was a bad nightmare. We're all good. Don't worry about it. Let's leave. And they leave. That's it. That's the end of the movie. They get in the car, everyone's happy, like, yay, it's over. And they leave the house. And then they look back and the old guy staring at them through the window like, oh. But they never explain it. There's no point to any of it. They don't say whether the haunting was real or whether she's crazy. Like, they never explain anything. They never, like, show anything. And they never even say, like, what happened to the fixer-upper guy. See, I really thought they were going into a descent into madness. Like, Kate Beckinsale was going insane, like The Shining, and she was going to kill her entire family. Or they were going to have to kill her. But no. It's just, it ends. Like, she doesn't really do anything. I mean, you think the guy would call the cops, or institutionalize her or something. But no. Like, the movie, there's no point in it. It's not a horror movie. It's not really a drama. It's not a thriller. It's nothing. It's just shit. So earlier in the movie, this really cute cat that was in the house, like killing mice or whatever, living off mice. Like they catch it and they like clean it, and it's the boy's cat. And the boy actually sees the ghost of the little kid, and the cat goes over to the ghost and is almost like it's her cat. But that's what they don't get, like if the ghost's real or the ghost's not real. They can never say. And then this weird thing where the cat is killed in the woods, and Kate Beckinsale finds it and hides the body. And she thinks that the dog killed it, the ghost dog. But I thought that she was going crazy, and she didn't. She showed that she didn't really like the cat. So I was thinking that towards the end they'd have all these flashbacks of these events that she saw. But they showed her losing time. They showed that she stopped taking the pills, and things that she didn't actually happen. So I kept thinking that they're gonna have these flashbacks that showed her killing the cat, that showed her killing the fixer-upper guy, the handsome guy that came by. That I thought they're gonna show her, she thought she was like brutally bashing the head into this ghost. Instead, she was bashing the head of her kid. And then I thought, she was gonna kill her husband too. But no, it's not like that. Like, she's crazy, but she's not that crazy, I guess. But they never explain anything. They never explain what actually. I mean, the cat was killed, so something killed the cat. And I mean, unless the fixer-upper guy, the husband saw the fixer-upper guy. So I mean, unless he's dead somewhere and they just don't know it, like they never explain what happened to him. And they don't explain anything. Like, I mean, I really thought that I was gonna do that, and when it ended, I was just like, you ended? You ended like that? Just driving away like a happy family back to New York City? And the other thing I thought they could actually have the haunting be real. And pretty much every horror cliche is that when the husband or whatever that doesn't believe something's happening is like, oh, the ghost is real. Let's, get out of here. Let's fight the ghost and save the day. But that never happened. I mean, the husband never saw anything weird or creepy or any ghostly thing that happened. Although the door shut on him when he was trying to get in and locked. And Kate Beckinsale wasn't in the door. It looked like some ghostly figure closed the door. So, like, there's no point to any of it. It's just a really bad movie that I really can't believe got made. Like, I heard that when I looked at some reviews finally popped up, and I looked at them and I saw that, this movie had been sitting on the shelf for years, I think. And they really should have stayed on the shelf. Like, I mean, I don't know how my movie theater got it, because, a couple weeks ago, even though they had the posters for The Mechanic, like, our movie theater didn't even get The Mechanic. But they somehow got this movie. And I mean, I should have known from the trailer that it was goofy. But the trailer had it shown like a straight up horror film. And this was not a horror film. Like, it wasn't scary at all. And it was just, it dragged on, but it was short. And it was just a terrible movie. Like, honestly, some of the worst acting I've ever seen. And I mean, they should have their Screen Actors Guild cards taken away for this movie. Because, I mean, it was just bad. And I really don't want anyone else to see it. Like, no one should have to see this piece of shit. Because I don't know, I mean, there were even other people in the theater with me. It wasn't like, when I saw Morgan, we were the only people in the theater, me and my brother and I. So but there were a couple other people in the theater. And, we've had some really good horror films this year. And then you have this film, and it's just so bad that, it disappoints me. Again, Disappointment's Room. What a horrible name. Just say, oh, I'm disappointed. So, don't go see this movie. I give it a 1 out of 10. That's how bad it was. So thanks. See you next time.